What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Hey, I wanted to do something real quick. I've got a little bit of vinyl left right here. Just this forged carbon looking vinyl is what we've been going with the theme of the car. I've got a little bit left and I thought I'd show you how to do a windshield banner. So right here, we're gonna put that vinyl right here. I've got this cool move over sticker that I'm gonna put on. So I had it on my last Charger. We're gonna put it on this one, but before we do, we're going to get that. I'm gonna show you how to easily do that if you've got some vinyl. All right, what's going on, guys? Hey, before we get started, what I wanted to mention is when you're doing anything with vinyl, you wanna make sure you clean the surface thoroughly. So we're doing a windshield banner here. So I've actually scraped the glass off. I've cleaned it with window cleaner. And I've got a crystal clear clean before you start anything with doing vinyl. So that's pretty much the same with anything that has adhesive on it. You want to make sure it's clean. So make sure you clean it. Do it with the 50-50 rubbing, alcohol, water mixture, something like that would be the best. And scraping the glass off would get it clean to go for the vinyl to stick. So let's get into it.
Don't you know that you're beautiful, just the way you are.
Okay guys, well, what I was trying to do was test fit this and line it up. And so as you can see, I've got this move over sticker I wanted to put on there. So I was test fitting this on where to go. On the Chargers, let me see if I can show you this real quick. But on the Chargers, I don't know if other vehicles' windshields have it, but on our Chargers, they typically have this little triangle there. I don't know if you can see that little triangle in the glass. That's like the dead, won't focus on there, but that's like the dead center of the glass right there is that little triangle. So I was basically trying to line this up, to decide how low I wanted it. Kind of wanted to start here and go low, but this move over sticker isn't curved. So if you've got a local vinyl shop and you want to do something like this, they can actually curvature it to where they cut the vinyl to where it follows the curve of your windshield. That's where you see the really good ones. But for this purpose, I don't think I've got enough vinyl to actually come down this far to keep this just how it is. So what I'm looking at doing is I'm just going to use the vinyl that I have, and then I think we'll cut each of these stickers and just line them across the top. So that'll kind of make it curve without, having it printed that way. So that's kind of what we're doing. So marking it down, I'm doing about 5.5 inches here. Because that's about what I've got left on the length of this vinyl. So we'll do that and start getting it going. So one thing to note, so if you're looking at legality, there's this, let's see if the camera can pick it up, but there's this AS1 line marked on your windshield. And so you can kind of see it printed in there. It's very faint, but it says AS1 on the windshield. And so anything coming below this AS1 line, that's where the police will mess with you. So if you keep any vinyl or stickers you're doing above that AS1 line, then you'll be in compliance with the federal laws and all that crap. Okay, so what I'm using is this route cut tape. So you can get some of this knifeless tape, they call it. This particular version is called route cut, and that's what it is, times 200 feet. But you can kind of see, so underneath that tape, kind of see in there is it has a little piece of string, basically is what it is. And there's different versions. So this version has the string all the way to one edge and more tape to the other edge. So if you can see that through there. So this you would just pay attention. So I'm going to lay this down as our cut line. That's how we're going to cut the vinyl. I'm going to put it with the piece of string down, and that's the piece that'll pull and cut the tape. So let me tape that and I'll show you that. Okay, so what I did is I started over here. I've got some excess off. So you always want to keep a bit of excess off, because when the vinyl comes over, you're going to be pulling this through the vinyl. But as you can see, I'm just kind of lining it right across. I put a couple more tape marks, so they're all about 5 1/8 inch down, and I'm just kind of making that line straight across is basically what we're trying to do. So you get it as straight as you want. I'm actually going to be putting some of this pinstripe around it, so I'm not too concerned if this line isn't like completely straight, but this tape will lay down as you bend and move it. And so you're just going to push it down really tight as you're going along, moving it along. And so once we get that line down, I'll start showing you some of the rest. Okay, so I got the top and the bottom done on this dealio here. Just show you a little bit of that. Got a little bit of the tape coming out the sides so you can actually pull it through. So this is just the top and the bottom. I mean, some of the professionals would probably just carefully run their razor blade along here, and you know, they wouldn't cut this gasket or anything. But you know, I'm assuming, you know, I'm not a professional, and I'm assuming you guys, you know, are probably not experienced in, you know, carefully doing that. So I went ahead and just did knife tape along the top edge as well. And what I'm going to do is just to do the side edge, we're going to run it down here as well. And so now that I have the top and the bottom done, basically you're going to need to remember, so when you do this, you know, if we did the top and the bottom here, and then we're going to go and do the sides, you know, the side cuts right here, you're going to want to pull whatever tape's on top first. So when we stretch the vinyl, we're going to pull this cut first, and then we're going to do the two side cuts to make it consistent. So let's get that part done and I'll show you. Okay guys, so we got this. So we got all of the knifeless tape, or the wrap cut tape, in place. Got extras off to the top and the bottom. So now I'm just gonna get this vinyl ready and wrap it around across there. If you have two people, probably better, but we'll see how this works with just with just me. And if you've got a vinyl that doesn't have a texture like this, you're probably going to want to make sure, you know, you do it so you start from the middle out, so the bubbles don't, you know, show through your color. Because if you're doing like a plain color, you might get tons of bubbles, so you're still going to have to press it out and get the air out of the bubbles. So I'm going to show you that and just start getting that done. Okay, so I had a lot less vinyl than I was thinking on that roll. So you really want like maybe a 2-foot piece, an 18-inch piece if you're going to do this. So what I'm going to have to do, because to get the curvature of the window, you know, you'd want a 2-foot piece, and then you could, you know, you'd have enough to curvature it around and trim off the excess. Because I don't have that, I'm basically just going to have to split this in the middle. So I'm just going to cut this straight kind of down the middle and do it in two pieces that kind of V out to get the curvature. But in a perfect world, you're really going to want to buy like an 18-inch piece by, you know, 6 feet or whatever. Make sure you have that size of piece if you're going to want to do this for the curvature. So what I ended up doing, because I'm going to have to piece these two pieces together, the forged carbon is not going to matter much. You're probably not going to notice it much because the pieces are shards, so they're just going to line up with other shards. But one thing to note, if you have this type, so on the Chargers, we've got this little sensor in here. This is like the light sensor. So I'm basically going to merge it straight down that sensor, and so I can see where it is, because I'm going to have to cut out a hole. I think this is like your dimmer. I'm not sure what this sensor's for, but if you have the adaptive cruise control, you've got these extra sensors up here in the middle, so it makes this chunk of mirror like a lot larger than most of the Chargers are. So just be mindful, if you have the adaptive cruise control and you have any of these sensors up here, you're probably not going to want to cover them with the solid vinyl. So I'm going to run that straight down the middle to piece this together, and then that'll give me like a definite line on how to cut around that circle so the sensor is functional. Okay guys, so have this on there, I've pressed the vinyl on, and this is really tight. So, you know, the professionals, and you know, you'd want to have like 6 inches on each side really when you're using this wrap cut. It just gives you a better pull. But basically push all the bubbles out of that, get that as flat as you can, as smooth as you can. Make sure it's wrapped really good around this tape. You know, make sure it's adhering around that tape really good, because this is where the cut's going to be made. So if you're not really tight, I'm a little concerned here because you can see the tape goes right here. It might try to pop out right here instead of cutting the vinyl. So we'll see, but it's kind of how you want to do it. So again, we started with these top cuts, so I overlapped this one, so I'm gonna have a little bit of vinyl to pull out there, as well as there. But we started with these top cuts, so we're just gonna pull these off. So let me show you how to do that real quick. Okay, so because we're starting with these top pieces, you basically want to try to get the string separated from the tape. So I don't think I'll be able to show you with one hand, but let me get that separated. So I got the cut string separated from the tape. So, and that's basically just using your fingernail, just kind of dig it off at the end there. get it separated from the tape, and then you can keep that tape off to the side. And basically, you know, if you have everything pegged down really good, you're gonna get it to the point where it's gonna cut through the vinyl, and then you're just gonna kind of pull it through there really hard. Once you start pulling it through there, it'll start cutting. This is in a weird spot, so I'm gonna probably cut it down a tiny bit just to get it there. Okay, so pretty hard to do with filming with one hand and trying to do all this with the other. So I kind of just pulled that through, so it cut the loose vinyl. This loose vinyl's up there. Normally it's a little bit easier, so when I was doing that on the hood bulge, quite a bit easier. But with this having free air around the vinyl, you know, not a lot to grab onto. But so anyways, you got it through there, and basically you're just going to kind of try to pull in a straight line, just pull straight down. And so that string came all the way through, and then you're going to end up with a trim piece here of the vinyl that you can just carefully pull off and pull that away. And then because we did the edge with the most tape facing away, we don't got a lot of tape under there to tuck in, so we're just going to kind of pull this tape out. That's kind of from under the edge, and then you're just going to put down that edge, and you got a clean cut edge. So let's do the other top ones, and then we'll do the long one straight across. Okay, because of that loose vinyl on the top here, I decided not to separate on the top, did it on the bottom. So pulled that string out on the bottom, and now this is right against the vinyl, so it'll cut really good. So we're just gonna get that started through there. Sometimes just to get the first cut, especially on this thicker vinyl, kind of just gotta, you know, push it down with two hands. So let me do that real quick. Okay, again, so got that started and just put that through. Kind of had a, you know, jagged real quick on the bottom, but that's not where the vinyl is. So, you know, just got that perfect cut there. So again, just gonna take this vinyl off the edge there, and we got a nice straight cut where this tape, this little rope, you know, wrap cut tape came right through. And then we can go ahead and remove this piece of plastic because that line's done. And then we just have that middle one and these two long ones to do. So I'm gonna do the middle one off camera and then come back and show you these last two, but it's basically the same process. You're just gonna separate. Okay, so I got the middle piece done. You can kind of see the line there, but I think after the move over sticker, it's really gonna blend in. You're not really gonna notice it from, you know, any distance unless you're really pointing it out. So got this top piece started, so I'm halfway through. You're basically just pulling this straight through. So once you start pulling it out, it's just gonna basically cut the vinyl. So it's just like that. It's pretty easy. So then once you got top piece cut, you just take that excess vinyl off. Good to go. So got the piece there. And then this tape, because it's under the vinyl, you're basically gonna have to pull that out too. And then put the vinyl, you know, just push it back down and do some post heat on this. So that's kind of it. It's starting to come together. So I just did the final cut here on the bottom, and you know, just make sure you get all this little piece of vinyl because it'll be stuck under, you know, this part of the wrap cut tape will be, knifeless tape will be stuck under your vinyl if you did it this way. So most people point the thing out, the line out. So anyways, just make sure you get all this little red tape off, and then you can just, you know, press, just squeegee the rest of the air bubbles out. You get those edges laying flat, and you should be good to go. So, you know, provides a pretty decent tape. You know, it's not like a, I don't know, it's not 100% like a razor blade, I guess, if you will, but for not paying a shop $1 million to do it, that's an easy way to kind of customize your car without getting $1 million. So we'll put the move over sticker on and put the silver pinstripe around the edges too, just to tie in the design of the car all together. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and post heat this just a little bit. I've just got this is my Harbor Freight heat gun, you know, 30 bucks or something, but I was just gonna go ahead and post heat this just to set this in place before we put the move over sticker on it. So let me just put this on a kind of a medium heat. We'll just go through and post heat this a bit. Basically, this will just help take the rough edges off of it. So the knifeless tape leaves a little bit of sharp edges on it, just the way that it cuts. So this will kind of melt those edges down a little bit, but also just put the muscle memory of the film back to the shape of the windshield and just have it tied down there. So go ahead and do this, and I'll talk to you when we get the move over sticker on. Okay, so I still have that sensor there. You can kind of see it. The darker, camera's not going to focus, but you can kind of see that darker circle right there is where that sensor was. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this socket set around it and cut around it with a sharp knife. Just hold that down and cut around it. So that's my solution here to get a nice round circle around that sensor. So that's probably the easiest way. So if you have something like this, a socket, or maybe something that doesn't slide more, this is going to slide around a bit, but I'm just going to cut around it with a really sharp razor blade and cut that sensor out. So I don't know exactly what it is, but I don't want the vinyl to affect it if it's something to trigger the lights inside or something. So okay, so that worked perfect. Basically got all the way around that sensor right there for focus. Kind of got a circle all the way around that sensor doing that. So that sensor is unobstructed and it should be good to go. It won't affect whatever it is that sensor does. All right, guys, back here we got this set, that done. Started with the O. Basically decided the O was right in the middle, and if you remember that little notch right here, there's that little notch on the windshield that I told you indicates the dead center. So this O is right in the dead center, like right there is the dead center of the windshield. So I wanted to start with the O. I've cut these out individually and started with the O so I can fill these in evenly from side to side. We'll probably have a little bit of space here if we want to put another decal down the road. But basically just going down, I'm going to put these up and line these up, and we should be good to go with the move over sticker, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so that's the move over sticker, just put on there individually. Again, I did it individually so it would curvature with the windshield. So the last thing I got to do is do the silver pinstripe so it can tie in with the rest of the theme of the car, and everything should look really good after that. So once I get the pinstripe around the edge of this vinyl, just gonna go all the way around there. I'll do one more post heat, and then we should be good to go, and we will be complete. So that will basically round out all the vinyl and all the stuff I want to do on the car right now. So let me show you that and we'll be done. Hey guys, so that's pretty much it. I mean, there's probably some better people to show you pinstriping, so I don't really get too detailed on that, but basically at the edges I just kind of cut it to line up perfect. You know, if you just razor it to line up perfect, and that's what you got going all the way around. The only spot there is obviously where the sensor is. I cut the pinstriping to follow the circle there, but there's really no way around that. Kind of is what it is to avoid the sensor. I mean, it looks a little funky, but there's not a lot to do other than cover up the sensor. So it's about the only option. So now guys, anyways, all we got to do is we're going to post heat this a little bit, and then we're pretty much good to go. So that's it. Just run some post heat on it. Always post heat all your vinyl and stuff. Just lightly heat it to make sure it sets in, and we should be good to go. Okay guys, that about wraps this one up. Let's take a look at the final project here, the final outcome. Here we go. Just like that. Move over. And yeah, So the reason why it's backwards is so when somebody's reading it in their rearview mirror. So in case you didn't know that, I always wondered, I was like, why is that backwards when you're looking at it? So the people in front of you can read it in their rearview mirror and get out the way. So let me know what you think. If you like that, if you want to see more content like that, let me know. If you like this install, just hit a thumbs up, hit a like, share, comment on the video, and let me know. But we'll see you in the next one.
Don't you know that you're beautiful? Just the